Gracious and loving God, we thank you for the great gift, the great mystery of the birth of your Son, and for the love he revealed to us, a love which is ever with us and ever new. Amen.
Amen.
According to my friend Jack, this story happened at the height of the Great Depression. He's not sure of the date. That's because Jack hadn't been born yet. It was a story he heard from his father, Russell, who was only a boy at the time. Based on his father's estimate, though, it probably took place in 1933. That was the year that Russell's father, Jack's grandfather, had finally lost his job. The family had already been hard hit by the Depression. Now there was no money coming in at all. Among many other disasters, this meant that there would be no Christmas for them that year. Russell and his dad had gone into the woods near their house and cut down a small fir tree, which they decorated with ornaments taken from the attic and with ribbons and popcorn, which they all took turns sewing together with string. But there would be no presents. None for Russell, who was about 8 at the time, none for his sister Sally, who was 4 years old, none for his older brother John, who was 16, and none for his father and mother. It was a cold, restrained Christmas Eve for the family that year. They had very little coal for the furnace, so they all sat around the Christmas tree in their coats. To warm themselves, they sang Christmas carols. They also read the Christmas story, which cheered them. They put on a brave face, but there were no packages under the tree, and all knew that there would be none in the morning either. Christmas morning came, and, more from habit than anything else, 4-year-old Sally got up early. Moments later, she came running into her parents' bedroom. "Mommy, Daddy," she called, "come quick! Santa came after all." The whole family stumbled out of bed, and sure enough, there were presents under the tree. 4 of them, 4 packages, all wrapped in newspaper and tied with a string. The parents looked at one another in amazement. Then Russell's mother reached for the package with her name on it and pulled it and started to unwrap it. Partway through, she began to laugh. Then she began to cry. She laughed and cried at the same time as she held up what was inside. It was her favorite shawl. She had worn it for years. She had worn it so often, in fact, that large holes had begun to form so that she had to put it away. Too precious to her to throw out, she had placed it at the bottom of her drawer. Now here it was, but all the holes had been mended. It looked brand new. Immediately, she put it around her shoulders. 8-year-old Russell was next. He grabbed the package with his name on it, and as he tore the wrapping, cried out in joy. He held up a small wooden horse that his great-grandfather had carved for him before he died, a beloved toy, which he thought he had lost months ago. Now here it was. 4-year-old Sally unwrapped her present and squealed with delight. It was her favorite Raggedy Ann doll that had gone to the attic because of all the yarn from the hair had been pulled out. Now here it was, with the hair replaced, the doll clean and fresh and looking like new. Russell's father found in his package his only sports coat, which he had given up because of a gravy stain, now clean and unblemished. With all the packages unwrapped, everyone turned to John, the older brother. Only he was without a present. He was looking around at all the others, and he was beaming, just beaming. It was he who had gotten all the others' presents. It was he who asked his aunt to mend his mother's shawl. It was he who had found his brother's lost toy and had been saving it for him all these months. It was he who had mended his sister's doll and cleaned it. And it was he who had badgered his cousin, a dry cleaner, to try and then try again and again and again to get that gravy stain out of his father's jacket until at last the spot was no longer visible. But what about you? They all asked John. Where's your present? My present is watching all of you, he said. And a smile stretched from cheek to cheek so that it completely filled his face. Everyone agreed that it had been the best Christmas ever. And the story stayed in the family to be retold every Christmas from then on, right up to the present. My friend Jack grew up hearing it. He eventually passed it on to his children, then to his grandchildren. It was he who told me. You know, sometimes the return of something old can make everything new. So it is in today's gospel. In the beginning was the Word, it says in the beautiful passage that opens the book of John, the passage that forms our gospel today. In the beginning was the truth, the meaning, the purpose. In the beginning was the love. And this meaning, this purpose, this truth, this love was with God and was God. And because it was God, it has always been present. It has always been with us. God's love has always been there. It's always surrounded us. It's always surrounded all who live, all who have ever lived. And yet, one night, a little over 2,000 years ago, that love, which has always been with us, came to us in a new way. That love became human and was born in a manger. In one sense, that changed nothing. In another sense, it changed everything. My friends, may we find in this Christmas season a chance to revive our gratitude for that great gift that has always been given us. The gift that was always ours. The gift that we are given anew every moment of every day. The gift of God's love. The love that was, that is, and that is to be, now and forever. Amen.